afternoon. Yeah, we are so glad you are here. I would like to say on behalf of the Friends of the Athenaeum and the Athenaeum, who co-sponsor this event, we are so thankful that you are here to spend part of your afternoon with us. A little bit of housekeeping. We are a little crowded in here. So I'm not sure we have any more places to put chairs. I see 2 chairs here, and then if anybody happens to have a seat beside them, maybe we could close in a little bit if you felt comfortable enough for that, so that people who are standing might have a place to sit. If not, enjoy from the back, please. Okay, if you do need to go to the facilities, that's down in the basement. The elevator is through that door, and then everything is down in the basement, the bathrooms, the water fountain, that type of thing. What I wanted to remind you also about is your cell phone. So for the listening enjoyment, I know that was on my list. For the listening enjoyment of those around you, would you please take a moment to silence your cell phone, like maybe I should right now? Okay. All right. If this puts you in the Christmas spirit or the holiday spirit, you could have one more run at some wonderful music Wednesday at 1 o'clock in our art gallery. The Kingdom Mountain Dulcimers will be here for some wonderful traditional tunes as well as some holiday favorites. The lineup for today, and they will come as I read this. I mean, like, this is going to be the order. Okay. We are very happy this year to have the North Country Youth Choir under the direction of Cynthia Lovo. They will be up here momentarily. The Hilltones, always a traditional favorite here under the direction of Alan Rowe. Nat Tripp. You know, we have our traditional readings, right? And he is one of our traditions, and he's going to be reading A Child's Christmas in Wales. And then it goes without saying, Bill Tobin is here, and all of this is our annual traditions that the Friends and the Athenaeum are able to bring to you. So I am going to... All good? All set. Oh, okay. All right. Then I would like to welcome our performers for the afternoon, and we will be starting with the North Country Youth Choir.
Put forward. Oops, sorry.
Sing we all know well.
So while the Hilltones are coming on,
I just want to tell you that Cynthia will be starting that course up again on January 17th. That's a Wednesday. They meet Wednesday afternoons from 3:30 till 5, and it is open to anybody, grades, somebody help me, 3 to 8, right? Something like 4 to 8, something like that. But anyway, if you're interested, please contact myself or contact Cynthia. If you have a child that loves to sing, we'd love to invite them. All right. So we're going to start with a song that we just learned last night. We'll see how well it goes. It's a wonderful song called Carol of the Stranger.
all the women sing.
Peace and grace be to this house where all are welcomed in. Receive the guest, receive this heart. Tell the stranger, tell. Tell the stranger what you cannot tell those who love you and desire your joy. Tell, make tall your walls, make lofty schemes. Who once believed the justice is gone, when justice is gone, in our darkest hour, hope lingers on. I will not fade, and I will not fade, in our darkest hour, hope lingers near. I will not hate, and I will not fear, in our darkest hour, hope lingers near.
Now we're going to do this. This is called
Lord, hear my prayer. This is by Moses Hogan. Someone likes it.
Lord, please hear my prayer. In the morning when I rise, is your servant bound for glory? Oh, dear Lord, please hear my prayer. Oh, Lord, please hear my prayer. Keep me safe within your arms. Is your servant bound for glory? Oh, dear Lord, please hear my prayer. When my work on earth is done, and you come to take me home, just to know I'm bound for glory, and to hear you say, well done, done with sin and sorrow, have mercy, mercy.
this is a lovely piece by
Dan Forrest, and just I'll read the words because sometimes it's hard to hear the words, but the song is about unconditional love. Many of you may know the poem. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky.
After
This is called Tana Slovici, and it's from where's it from? Slovenia. And I'm just going to give you, you'll understand when we sing it what the words are about. All right. There was a wedding in a village, Slovici. Right. Feet were hitting the floor so loudly that they drowned out the river Bila. It was echoing off the mountain Canaan. Feet were hitting the floor so loudly that they drowned out the church bell. No, okay, that's it. So you got the idea. I'm trying to read everything. So it's a wonderful song with carpeted. Ideally, you should be doing this in a hard floor surface because the stomping is part of the song. So, hope you like it. This is our closing.
afternoon, folks. I'm going to play for you a number of carols. We're going to start with God Rest Ye, Merry Gentlemen. Next one is an Austrian carol called Still, Still, Still. one is a medley of a piece called Oxen and Sheep in Patapan. Next one, Ding Dong, Merrily on High. special thanks to the Athenaeum. I'd like to wrap up with one of my favorites this time of year. This is Silent Night.
Rhodey is back. Good. Thank you, Bill.
You're very welcome.
For many years, Nat Tripp would read A Child's Christmas in Wales, and then we switched it up for 5 years, and last year Nat came back, and here is Nat again to read A Child's Christmas in Wales. Where's the roadie finish?
Okay. That's good. Thank you. And what a joy it is to be here and see all of you again. I'm going to try to take you back exactly 100 years back to December of 1923, when young Dylan Thomas would have been 9 years old. 9 years old is the perfect age for a Christmas adventure. He wrote this when he was in his 30s. He was born in 1914. After the Great War, the little town of Swansea, where he grew up in Wales, a seacoast town, had not really enjoyed the prosperity that the rest of Greater England had. Still a poor town. There were fish in the sea, and there was coal in the hills. But the main thing the town had was community, which is what we have, the main thing we have too. And this is his Christmas memory, a child's Christmas in Wales. One Christmas was so much like another in those years around the Seatown corner now, and out of all sound except the distant speaking of the voices I sometimes hear a moment before sleep, that I can never remember whether it snowed for 6 days and 6 nights when I was 12, or whether it snowed for 12 days and 12 nights when I was 6. All the Christmases roll down towards the two-tongued sea like a cold and headlong moon bundling down the sky that was our street. And they stop at the rim of the ice-edged fish-freezing waves, and I plunge my hands in the snow and bring out whatever I can find. In goes my hand into that wool-white, bell-tongued ball of holidays, resting at the rim of the carol-singing sea, and out come Mrs. Prothero and the firemen. It was on the afternoon of the Christmas Eve, and I was in Mrs. Prothero's garden waiting for cats with her son Jim. It was snowing. It was always snowing at Christmas. December, in my memory, is as white as Lapland. Though there were no reindeers, there were cats. Patient, cold, and callous, our hands wrapped in socks, we waited to snowball the cats. Sleek and long as jaguars, and horrible whiskered, spitting and snarling, they would slink and sidle over the white back garden walls, and the lynx-eyed hunters, Jim and I, fur-capped and moccasined trappers from Hudson's Bay, off Mumbles Road, would hurl our deadly snowballs at the green eyes, but the wise cats never appeared. We were so still, Eskimo-footed marksmen in the muffling silence of the eternal snows, eternal ever since Wednesday, that we never heard Mrs. Prothero's first cry from her igloo at the bottom of the garden. Or if we heard it at all, it was to us like the far-off challenge of our enemy and prey, the neighbor's polar cat. But soon the voice grew louder. "Fire!" cried Mrs. Prothero, and she beat the dinner gong, and we ran down to the garden with snowballs in our arms towards the house, and smoke, indeed, was pouring out of the dining room, and the gong was bombilating, and Mrs. Prothero was announcing ruin like a town crier in Pompeii. This was better than all the cats in Wales on the wall in a row. We bounded into the house, laden with snowballs, stopped at the open door of the smoke-filled room. Something was burning all right. Perhaps it was Mr. Prothero, who always slept there after the midday dinner with a newspaper over his face. But he was standing in the middle of the room saying, "A fine Christmas," and smacking at the smoke with a slipper. "Call the fire brigade," cried Mrs. Prothero as she beat the gong. "They won't be there," said Mr. Prothero. "It's Christmas." There was no fire to be seen, only clouds of smoke, and Mr. Prothero standing in the middle of them, waving his slipper as though he was conducting. "Do something," he said, and we all threw our snowballs into the smoke. I think we missed Mr. Prothero, and we ran out of the house to the telephone box. Let's call the police as well," Jim said, "and the ambulance, and Ernie Jenkins, he likes fires." But we only called the fire brigade, and soon the fire engine came, and 3 tall men in helmets brought a hose into the house, and Mr. Prothero got out just in time before they turned it on. Nobody could have had a noisier Christmas Eve. And when the firemen turned off the hose and were standing in the wet, smoky room, Jim's aunt, Miss Prothero, came downstairs and peered in at them. Jim and I waited very quietly to hear what she would say. She always said the right thing, always. She looked at the three firemen in their shining helmets standing amongst the smoke and cinders and dissolving snowballs, and she said, "Would you like anything to read?" Years and years ago, when I was a boy and there were wolves in Wales and birds the color of red flannel petticoats whisked past the harp-shaped hills, when we sang and we wallowed all night and day in caves that smelt like Sunday afternoons in damp front farmhouse parlors, and we chased with the jawbones of deacons, the English and the bears, before the motor car, before the wheel, before the Duchess-faced horse, when we rode the daft and happy hills bareback, it snowed and snowed and snowed. But here a small boy says, "It snowed last year too, and I made a snowman, and my brother knocked it down, and I knocked my brother down, and then we had tea." Oh, but that was not the same snow, I say. Our snow was not only shaken from white wash buckets down the sky, it came shawling up out of the ground and swam and drifted around out of the arms and hands and bodies of the trees. Snow grew overnight on the houses, the roofs of the houses, like pure and grandfather moss, minutely ivied the walls, and settled on the postman, opening the gate like a dumb, numb thunderstorm of white, torn Christmas cards. Were there postmen then, too? With sparkling eyes and wind-cherried noses, on spread frozen feet, they crunched up to the doors and mittened on them manfully. They stood on the white welcome mat in the little drifted porches and huffed and puffed, making ghosts with their breath, and jogged from foot to foot like small boys wanting to go out. And then the presents. And then the presents after the Christmas box, and the cold postman with a rose on his button nose tinkled down the tea tray slithered run of the chilly glinting hill. Tea tray was perfect for sliding on. He went in his ice-bound boots like a man on a fishmonger's slabs. He wagged his bag like a frozen camel's hump, dizzily turned the corner on one foot, and by God, he was gone. Back to the presents. There were useful presents, engulfing mufflers of the old coach days and mittens made for giant sloths, zebra scarves of a substance like silky gum, which could be tug-of-war down to the galoshes, blinding tam-o'-shanters like patchwork tea cozies, and bunny-suited busbies and balaclavas for victims of head-shrinking tribes. From aunts who always wore wool next to their skin, there were mustached and rasping vests that made you wonder why aunts had any skin left at all. And once I had a little crocheted nose bag from an aunt now, alas, no longer whinnying with us. And pictureless books in which small boys, though warned with quotations not to, would skate on Farmer Giles' pond and did and drowned, and books that told me everything about the wasp except why. Go on to the useless presents. Bags of moist and many-colored jelly babies, and a folded flag, and a false nose, and a tram conductor's cap, and a machine that punched tickets and rang a bell. Never a catapult. Once, by mistake that nobody could explain, a little hatchet and a celluloid duck that made a noise when you pressed it, a most unduck-like noise, a mewing moo, like an ambitious cat might make who wished to be a cow, and a painting book in which I could make the grass, the trees, the sea, and the animals any color I pleased, and still the dazzling sky-blue sheep are grazing in the red field under the rainbow-billed and pea-green birds. Hard-boils, toffee, fudge, and all sorts, crunches and crackles and humbugs and glaziers and marzipan, and butter welch for the Welch. Troops of bright red tin soldiers who, if they could not fight, could always run. and snakes and families and happy ladders and easy hobby games for little engineers, complete with instructions. Oh, easy for Leonardo. And a whistle to make dogs bark and wake up the old man next door to make him beat on the wall with his stick to shake our picture off the wall. And a package of cigarettes. You could put one in your mouth and you stood on the corner of the street and you waited for hours in vain for an old lady to scold you for smoking a cigarette, and with a smirk, you ate it. And then it was breakfast under the balloons. Mistletoe hung from the gas brackets in all the front parlors. There was sherry and walnuts and bottled beer and crackers by dessert spoons, and cats in their furabouts watched from the fires, and the high-heaped fires spat all ready for chestnuts and the mulling pokers. Some few large men sat in the front parlors without their collars, uncles almost certainly, trying their new cigars, holding them out judiciously at arm's length, returning them to their mouths, coughing, and then holding them out again as though waiting for the explosion. And some few small aunts, not wanted in the kitchen, nor anywhere else for that matter, sat on the very edge of their chairs, poised and brittle, afraid to break, like faded cups and saucers. For dinner, we had turkey and blazing pudding, and after dinner, the uncles sat in front of the fire, loosened all the buttons, put their large, moist hands over their watch chains, groaned a little, and slept. Mothers and aunts scuttled to and fro bearing tureens. Aunt Bessie, who had already been frightened twice by a clockwork mouse, whimpered by the sideboard and had some elderberry wine. The dog was sick. Aunt Dossie, who had to have 3 aspirins, but Aunt Hannah, who liked port, stood in the middle of the snowbound backyard, singing like a big-bosomed thrush. I would blow up the balloons to see how big they would get, and when they burst, which they all did, the uncles jumped and rumbled. In the rich and heavy afternoon, the uncles breathing like dolphins and the snow descending, I would sit among festoons and Chinese lanterns and nibble dates and try to make a man of war, following the instructions for little engineers, and produce something which might be mistaken for a seagoing tram car. And then, at tea, the recovered uncles would be jolly, and the ice cakes loomed in the center of the table like a marble grave. Aunt Hannah laced her tea with rum, because it was only once a year. Bring out the tall tales now that we have told by the fire as the gaslight bubbled like a diver. Ghosts wooed like owls in the long nights when I dared not look over my shoulder. Animals lurked in the cubbyhole under the stairs, and the gas meter ticked. And I remember that when we went singing carols once, when there wasn't a shaving of a moon to light the flying streets, and the end of a long road, at the end of the long road was a drive that led to a large house, and we stumbled up in the darkness of the drive that night, each one of us afraid, each one holding a stone in his hand in case, and all of us too brave to say a word. The wind through the trees made a noise as of old and unpleasant, and maybe web-footed men squeezing in caves. We reached the black bulk of the house. What shall we give them? Hark the herald? No, Jack said. Good King Wenceslas, I'll count to 3. 1, 2, 3, and we began to sing, our voices high and seemingly distant in the snow-felted darkness round that house that was occupied by nobody we knew. We stood close together near the dark door. Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen. And then a small, dry voice, like the voice of someone who has not spoken for a long time, joined our singing. A small, dry, eggshell voice from the other side of the door. A small, dry voice through the keyhole. And when we stopped running, we were outside our house. The front room was lovely. The balloons were floating under the hot water bottle, gulping gas. Everything was good again and shone over the town. Perhaps it was a ghost, Jim said. Perhaps it was trolls, Dan said, who was always reading. Let's go in and see if there's any jelly left, Jack said, and that's what we did. Always on Christmas, there was music, and Uncle played the fiddle. A cousin sang Cherry Ripe, and another uncle sang Drake's Drum. It was very warm in the little house. Aunt Hannah, who had gotten on to the parsnip wine, sang a song about bleeding hearts and death, and then another in which her heart was like a bird's nest, and then everybody laughed again, and then I went to bed. Looking through my bedroom window out into the moonlight and the unending smoke-colored snow, I could see the lights in the windows of all the other houses on our hill and hear the music rising from them up the long, steady falling night. I turned the gas down. I got into the bed. I said some words to the close and holy darkness, and then I slept. Merry Christmas.